welcome to the 7th episode of the 13 to 19 podcast. I can't believe I'm saying 7th episode, by the way.
That's crazy.
I can't believe that, but anyway, I'm Deana Hassan, and today I'm joined by the lovely Rachel.
Hi.
Hello. Who's literally trekked from Essex.
Yes.
And I rate her so much because she's ill, and she still came, so I'm so thankful. Thank you so much for coming.
No worries at all.
I've been wanting to do this episode. Out of all of them, this is the one I've been really looking forward to because okay, it's not for you. Relax. I'm joking. But it's one thing that I think everyone overlooks, and we need to talk about it. This episode is called "Don't Touch Me," and we're gonna talk about some of the things that happen at school. Simply because I don't think boundaries were ever set.
No.
So tell me about your experience in secondary school and. Yeah.
Well, in secondary school, that's when I started losing weight.
Okay. Were you chubby before?
I was so chubby.
Aww.
Like it was not even cute. I'm pretty sure I burnt all those pictures like back then. But I started losing weight and like I started coming into like somewhat of a figure. And like I was cool with everyone, especially cool with the boys, and I'm not gonna lie, like you know how guys are at that age, like secondary school, just really horny and all that good
Very
stuff.
Handsy,
Very
aren't
handsy,
they? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I used to get gassed when people would talk about my bum.
Really?
Yeah, because I had a nice perky.
Do you know what? I can relate on the flip side because I didn't have anything, and I remember just sitting there being like, what's it like to have a bum? What's it like to get attention
like,
from
honestly,
a guy?
like that's what we used to talk about in secondary school, like bums and all these things. And it's actually crazy when I look back now. Like when boys would slap your bum, you'd be like, what are you doing? But you'd be like, exactly. And like now looking back, it's like if anyone was to try that shit, like I think I would just
lose it.
Completely.
Isn't it crazy? Like, I'm so happy you said that because I remember in my school there used to be this thing called getting aggied. I don't know if that's still a thing. Do you know what aggying is?
I don't know what that
So
is.
aggying is basically dry humped. So basically a boy would grab a girl, like push her into a corner and just dry hump her and then run away or something. And I never got aggied. And I was like, rah, I'm too ugly to get aggied. I'm too ugly to be sexually assaulted. How mad is that?
It's
How
crazy.
mad?
But then at the same time, I think it's just like the fact that if you see everyone doing it, it's like, or you see everyone it getting done to everyone, you're like, oh, is there something wrong with me? And it shouldn't be the case. Like you should be happy. But
I know that no one's sexually assaulting you, right?
Basically.
But I don't know how schools are that much now in terms of if a boy does touch a girl or if a girl touches a boy, because I know girls were quite cheeky with boys as well.
Even not just in secondary school. Even I feel like more like uni type. That's when girls get a bit aggressive in their approach. Like,
tell me more.
Like literally, I know this guy, and he was basically like someone was trying on him hard, and he was like no, and she was grabbing him and things like that, and he said no, and she didn't stop. And it's just crazy because if the roles were reversed, it'd be like, don't touch me, and you keep going, you can get in trouble just like that. And
exactly.
there are so many stories that in unis where boys have just woken up next to a random girl and they've just been drunk, and it's just like, to what extent does consent apply to boys as well? Like as females, when we say no, that's it. But when a guy says no, it's just like, he's joking. When he's not. Like I even know a guy that he got grabbed, like someone grabbed his
private parts,
his piece his piece at carnival, like grabbed it and looked him dead in the eyes. Like,
what did he do?
He was just
in shock,
as you would be. But at the same time, he can't just swat her away, because then it's just like, why are you here to go?
Exactly. Oh my god.
So I feel like in certain situations, guys honestly can't win. Like when it comes to the discussion of sexual assault and harassment and all of that, they can't win.
It's so true. And disclaimer, this is not going to be boys are bad.
No, definitely
it's nothing
not,
like that,
no.
because the thing is, boys, when they're in secondary school, they are exploring, just as girls are as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think, as I said, some boys, depending on what they've seen, especially because I know that young men or young boys, actually, they're not men really yet, young boys learn about sex through porn,
Yeah.
right? So they think that that is what women want from them. So the aggression, and if there's no one there to stop it, nip it in the bud, and let's be real,
grows and grows and grows.
Exactly. And young girls, obviously, it's quite a new experience for them. So going from year 6, because sometimes this happens to people in year 7, year 8, it's a very weird transition, because year 6 you're like used to boys like going up it, and you go, oh my god, I've got baggies. Yeah, exactly. And going to year 7 and then seeing all these kind of like physical
affection,
and
stuff like that,
and actions of assault as well, like sexual assault, and I think it's so important to talk about this, because setting boundaries, or even standing up for a girl or a guy who obviously isn't happy about being touched, you can usually tell, is so important.
Yeah.
So important to be like, don't do that. It's not okay. My school didn't do that.
They didn't.
They'd be like, stop it. Stop being silly.
That's literally. But I feel like now it's a bit better. I would say. Well, I would like to think it's a bit better with everything that goes on from like the Me Too movements and things like that.
For sure.
I should hope that schools are basically teaching these young people at that age. Because if you're taught in year 7, listen, if someone touches you inappropriately, know that it's this, and this is what you can do about it, then they'll grow up with that mentality, like, if I don't like someone touching me, I don't have to endure it. Because I feel like sometimes, even I can only speak from what I've seen at uni, it would seem like certain people, they don't like it, but they're like, oh, okay. And it shouldn't be the case. And sometimes I feel like, sometimes I even feel like when you say no is not enough.
I agree.
And it's like, what do we do when no is not enough? So then it's just that grey area, because you can't resort to physical violence, because if you're a female trying to fight off a man, you will always lose. And as a man trying to fight off a female, that's not in your favour either.
You're going to be in trouble regardless.
Exactly. So what do we do about this grey area? And also, it's just, you can't talk about that without addressing the fact that some people do lie about being assaulted by men when they haven't been. Again, I know a couple guys that have been through it, and they genuinely haven't done anything. And sometimes I feel like these discussions need to be had. Because it's all well and good saying, if a boy touches you, just report it. But then what happens when the boy didn't touch you and you're just hurt? You're just bitter.
Yeah, of course, exactly. And that's the thing, I always say that education is so important. I know sometimes I seem hippie-ish, but it's so true. If you can teach young people to understand what sexual assault is, what the effects of reporting that kind of act, or even lying about it is, it's really important for young people to grow up, rather than us grow up, get touched and be like, oh, I'm not going to say anything, never come to terms with it, never understand it. Or grow up, get away with like touching other people when they didn't want to be touched, and then thinking that's how you can treat other people in society, and that's where the problem happens. And for me, it's just for those kind of students that when I was in school, I know that so many girls had things done to them, they weren't happy about it, they'd be upset, and as I said, either the teacher just didn't really address it properly. Obviously, it was a different time. Now I think it would be addressed, or they would just not say anything, and the boy would continue to do it, continue to like slap boobs. Like, that was a thing in my school.
Slapping boobs?
Yeah, just slap them.
Jeez.
Like, and just continue. Yeah, literally, it was slapping bums and slapping boobs, and it was like, no girl would say anything, because it's like, sometimes the girls were like, don't do that.
It's somewhat normal.
Yeah.
That's the disturbing thing, like, it shouldn't be normal.
Exactly.
In secondary school, like, it shouldn't be normal at all.
It shouldn't be normal ever, but especially in secondary school, because that's, for 5 years, that's how you're going to frame your outlook on what is okay and what's not.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever had any experience personally in school of boys like overstepping the boundary, or even girls overstepping the boundary?
Not necessarily in school, but there's been times where I've been out like clubbing or whatever, and I remember this, like, because I remember how livid I was, and a guy just proper smacked me on the bum. I didn't know this guy from anywhere. Like, I think he did it in passing. Just slapped me on the bum really hard. Yeah. Like, it stung. Like, it really hurt, and I was just angry. Yeah. It's like, who the F did that? What the hell? Da, 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 da. But at the end of the day, what can you do about it? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna and it was like some big, huge black guy. Yeah. And it's like, if I were to hit him, what if he hits me back? Then what?
It's true, actually.
So then you just kind of start, you're like, let it go. And you can't go and tell, sometimes you can't go and tell the bouncer, because you go and tell him, like, oh, did anyone else see it happen? No. Okay, so we're a bit...
Yeah, no, exactly, and then you're stuck. No, definitely, and I think that's why a lot of young people don't like speak up, because it gets to that point where you think that it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah.
Because if there's no proof, what are you going to do about it?
Definitely.
So this is why I wanted to do the episode, because I wanted to make it super clear to young people, as I said, shaping minds and just making them understand that if someone touches you and you're not okay with it, address it. We only get taught the underwear rule. Do you remember when you're younger and like primary schools and your parents just say to you, like, the underwear rule, no one's allowed to see or touch you in that area and all that, and then they leave it there?
Yeah.
So it's like they can do anything else, but the moment
just
it gets...
don't touch your parts.
Exactly, and it's so important for people to set boundaries as well, because I remember this girl at uni, actually, I rate her a lot. She was like, you know when you're meeting you guys, and guys sometimes do the whole, where's my hug, and let's... Your face, yeah, exactly. Remember, it's worse though, because it's like, where's my hug, and it's like, I don't want to touch you, but if I don't touch you, you're gonna cuss me out. So which one do I do?
You just close your eyes.
Close your eyes and cry. No, I'm joking. But she was really cool because she set her boundaries from the beginning. She was like, oh, I don't really hug boys. Like that's not what I do. And I love that because all the guys kind of stood off because they knew. And I think, wow, imagine if people or young people had the power or felt powerful enough to say that just in schools, because let's be real, we're not going to change the world overnight and make boys go, you know what, I'm going to watch the way I'm touching girls, or make girls think.
But do you know what's crazy? Like, I know guys that definitely they've taken on board like this consent thing.
Yeah.
They'll really be like, is it okay for me to give you a hug? Is it okay for me to do this? Is it okay for me to do that?
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
Of course it is.
But like, obviously there are some people that
don't care
and they'll do whatever but the fact that like times have honestly changed, the fact that there are guys out there that'll literally be like, but I need your consent, is that okay?
Yeah.
Is it okay for me to do this? Is it okay for me to do that? And that's amazing. That's how it should be.
That is exactly.
But at the same time, there are girls out there, they're like, why would I want consent? Why would you just keep stopping to...
You ruined the moment.
Yeah, and then it's just like, no, but he's covering his back.
Yeah.
Because you actually don't know, like, what if all of a sudden you turn around and say that, oh, he did this to me, he did... When... It's just to check in with you, to be like, okay, is this okay? Are you okay with what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And there's nothing sexier than consent, to be honest.
I love that. You said that earlier, so you were like, consent is sexy.
Consent is
like,
sexy.
ooh.
It is.
And it is so true. Consent is sexy, and also just being honest about what you're happy with and not is super important.
And I think I can only speak for females, myself.
Yeah, I know. I really should have got a bias. We're enough. We're not biased.
No, like, honestly, we're not biased at all.
Exactly.
But I feel like sometimes females, we need to be able to let our yes be our yes and our no be our no's.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we'll be like, no.
Yeah.
And it's
no.
Like, just say no and just be done with it.
Yeah.
And just no, I don't want to. And like, you don't even have to give an explanation. Like, your no is enough. Just no. Done. And if it's a yes, yes. And just go about your business, as opposed to be like, no, but really means yes, and then yes, but really means no.
Exactly.
Just be clear as a yes and no. That's what they mean, yes and no.
These are not the times to be like all cute about
it.
Because like, we're living in very different times.
It's harsh times out here.
Exactly. You need to just be straight up honest, but also girls and boys, I feel like you need to be like backing all the other girls and boys that are not happy. So I remember the girls in my school, I don't know if I was guilty of it because I don't remember it, but I'm not going to rule myself out, but all the boys started like getting muscles and all this.
Yeah, and then you just be touching them. I'm not going to lie, I used to do that.
Your back is so sexy and all this stuff. And they would touch, they would, and I was just sitting there thinking, now I think about it, obviously it was probably innocent, but conversations like that need to be had in terms of, can I touch your back? Like that, because if a guy did that, it's a bit of an issue, and a girl probably would have more of a say and feel more comfortable saying something, but a guy might just not want to be touched and just not say anything.
I think the thing with guys sometimes is that they feel like they have to be okay with it sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of like even sleeping with people that they don't want to sleep with, like if you don't want to sleep with them, just no.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes they feel like maybe it's like societal pressures or whatever, but sometimes I feel like they're like, they really mean no, they don't want to, but they'll go along with it just because, it should. That's what they're supposed to do. And it's quite sad, actually.
I agree. I love how like balanced you are, by the way.
Honestly, like I have brothers as well, so sometimes I just think like, obviously I'd love to be like, oh, men are this, men are that, but no, like it goes
women are trash too.
Listen,
I say this all the time.
Like
women are trash.
I'm like the CEO of Men Are Trash sometimes. Not gonna lie, I scream it and I shout it and I march through the streets. But like the reality is like. We're all equally trash.
Yeah, it's true.
All trash.
We all have our trash tendencies, but the
definitely.
main thing is finding a solution and fixing that. And that actually leads me on so perfectly to asking you a question. So obviously the way I found you is somebody shared your platform, You're Safe, and I just want you to tell the people listening about that a bit more, because for the people that are experiencing something a bit more than just the odd boob slap or the bum slap and actually want to talk to someone and don't know how to go about it, I thought your platform's amazing and I just wanted you to tell us about it. You're welcome.
Basically, You're Safe is something I've been working on for years. Like, originally, I ran for Miss Ghana UK in 2017 because the sexual abuse was just something that I've always been very passionate about.
Yeah.
So I ran for Miss Ghana UK, came second, by the way. And it just kind of took off from there, and like I just slowly just kept building. I met people that helped me like push it out there completely. But what it's meant to do is just to create a platform to help men and women speak about their traumas. Oh my days, I'm really
it's all good, don't worry, she's here, okay? No one say anything.
About their traumas, and I feel like sometimes you just need to air out, and I feel like that's the first step to healing, being able to tell your story and just let it out. So that's what You Are Safe is, a platform for people to speak about their experiences, and later in the year, hopefully I hope to like host an event for it, but it's just to help people just know that there are other people that have been through it, because sometimes you feel like it's just you, it's not. Other people have been through it as well, and sometimes it's easier to hear from people that have been through it as opposed to someone that hasn't been through it. And they can relate better compared to someone that hasn't been through it. It's all well and good being like, I'm so sorry, I know how you don't know how I feel.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the purpose of You Are Safe, really. I just want to help people.
I love that. I've got a lot of time for people that want to help people, like honestly, because I got time for you. Well done, congratulations. No, but it's so important that people use like their purpose. If your purpose, you feel drawn to doing that, it's amazing that you're doing that, because there are going to be people that think they're alone. No matter how much you say to people you're not alone, people don't want to stress their parents.
No.
People don't want to tell teachers because sometimes they think teachers won't listen.
Actually, we'll get real personal here.
Go ahead.
I've been through sexual abuse myself, and I remember around 17, 18, like I was having breakdowns. Like it had happened to me like from when I was younger, but I was having breakdowns. It was crazy because I thought, oh, that part of my life is done. Like I literally broke down, and I told a teacher, and she basically, I didn't want to do anything about it. I just wanted to just
say it
then, and the only person I had at home was my dad, and I was not going to tell him because we didn't have that kind of relationship. But I just wanted to vent and cry and leave it there, but she called the police. And then the police was like hounding me, like calling me all the time. And it's just like, that's not what I want. So sometimes telling the teacher is not always the solution, because they'll do what they think is right as opposed to what's right for you.
And legally what they have to do.
Yeah.
They have to do it. They can't like listen to that and go on.
But even like the police, how they were like kind of on my case, I kind of told them, yeah, it's fine, I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
but they were kind of like, they called the parents in and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
And it was quite a lot. It made me feel like, okay, cool. So if I have this problem, I am not going to go to the police because it's too much.
It's too much.
Exactly. So sometimes it is a bit hard, but they did eventually recommend me to like a counsellor, and even then I was just like, it's hard because it's like it's just difficult for me.
They basically,
me personally anyway.
They basically told you how you need to deal with it rather than.
And
just
also
being
they were putting like things into my head. They were like, yeah, you like control, like it's because of what you've been through. You feel the need No, I don't.
Yeah, you don't know me.
I don't, legit, like,
Yeah.
they put, like, little things into your head to make you feel like, I remember I left there feeling like there was something wrong with me, as opposed to feeling better. I literally felt like, oh, my days, like, I'm a control freak, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, and it's just like, I have no boundaries.
Yeah.
And it just sent me on a spiral, and it was not a good experience for me personally.
Yeah.
So that's also why the platform is there, because I'm not a psychologist or anything, but it does help knowing that someone's been through it and they're talking to you about it as well, if that makes sense.
Of course, and I completely understand that you want someone's ear, not someone's solution or what they think they should do, because coming to terms and actually speaking about what's happening to you, it can be an impossible task. And I really am thankful that you've shared that with me, because if people can hear this and they are going through something that they feel is not right in their gut, they know is not right, but are not ready to talk to people, I always link charities, and I'll be linking Your Safe as well. Find the way that it feels comfortable for you, but the important thing, guys, is that you know that your body is your body. Like, you don't have to sit there and laugh at someone slapping your boobs. And if you can see a guy or a girl overstepping, please just use your voice and be like, that's not okay. Because the more we say it, the more normal it will become. And as I said, I will be linking Rachel's platform, and I think it's amazing that you shared that with me. I'm really, really thankful for that.
No worries.
And I mean, my final question is, what advice would you give to a young person who is being touched or wants to set the boundary, or what would your advice be overall just to get through secondary school?
Secondary school.
Big question.
I barely got through myself.
Oh my God, I know.
I would say, again, let your yes be your yes, so your no be your no, and don't be scared to just be like, you're pushing it, you're really testing me, and I'm not okay with it. Be assertive. And I feel like when you learn to do that at a young age, that's what's best for you, because as you get older, it's not something that you have to think twice about. When you learn how to set your boundaries, like, sometimes you need to sit down and reflect and be like, okay, this happened today, am I okay with it? And if the answer is no, then you start setting the boundaries, whether it's confronting the person and be like, listen, I don't like the way you touched me, so I'd appreciate it if you would not do that to me again. That's you setting the boundary. If they cross that boundary again, then you know, okay, this person is doing it on purpose. So then you go about it, whether you tell your parent. My parents were always really good at that kind of stuff. Like, sometimes it's like the teachers won't see much of it, but if you explain it to your parent and your parent marches down to school, they'll understand that it's actually serious for you, and it's not just something that they should brush aside. So just being assertive, learning to set your boundaries from like secondary school will help you so much in your adult life, because people are gonna be testing you
in all aspects of life.
They're gonna keep trying. Like, if once you know that, okay, this is my boundary, if anyone crosses it, that's a problem, then you know the people that are for you as well. Because if a person's for you, they're not gonna keep doing things to upset you, especially if you've told them once. So I feel like those are the most important things to me anyway, to learn, the important lessons to learn.
Mic drop. I'm not going to say anything. That's perfect. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.